All right, you guys are in for a treat because I just recorded for 35 minutes and I had my blue light filter on and it looked awful. So I get to record again and I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet so I know exactly what I'm going to say. This video, I just want to make it a short catch up of everything that I've done since the league start. Short little recap of the league is the launch was a little rocky. The mechanic was a little too rippy, or sorry, very too rippy. It was like incredibly rippy. It's still a little too rippy, I would say, but it's really good. The power and the fun stuff that we get from the new league mechanic, which I'll be going into in this video, is incredibly fun and powerful. The transfigured gems are really cool, although we're not using any. There's none that I really recommend in this build right now. Might be, I have to look into the list and see if there's anything interesting, but the SRS one and the carrying golem don't fit in this build. The tools are really good. I'm having a ton of fun. This build is insane right now. It is even better than it's ever been before, particularly because of the charms and the specters. I've been having a blast on the league start. On day 2, which was yesterday, this is the end of day 3. It's now 2:30 a.m. So cool. Thanks blue light filter. I'm gonna work on the video until 4 a.m. tonight. But that's just league start. Day 2, I took it really easy. I spent a grand total of like 50 chaos, something like this. Yeah, 50, 60 chaos. Spent almost nothing. I just kept the build like very SSF light. Just bought a couple very cheap bases. I got my trigger wand ASAP. The campaign was as smooth as possible. Like if you've played this build, like you know how insane the campaign is with the Radiant Sentinel. Got my minion wand and I bought a 5-link body armor as soon as I had a little bit of chaos. First night, I went all the way until I got my first 2 void stones. And then first thing on Saturday morning, or I guess Saturday afternoon, I think I woke up at almost 4 p.m. But Saturday when I played was primarily focused on kind of like the bookkeeping. I got my first 2 void stones right the first night, and then it was kind of putting together a couple of pieces that I was missing, the baseline gear, like, you know, getting my chaos res up, unlocking more Atlas passives, stuff like that. Saved my currency. I didn't really spend much yesterday whatsoever. And then today, I kind of went all out. And I mean, still, I spent about 10 divines so far total. What I have right now is a pretty good set of gear. A couple weaknesses, but pretty good set of gear. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over the gear really quickly. I'm going to go over the changes to the gems. I'll talk about the passives. We'll actually do that first. We'll talk about the passives and then the gear. And then I made a couple changes to the gems. Just for me, it's not what I'm recommending for you guys. And then the really exciting stuff, which is the specters. Starting off with the passives, this represents a very transitional passive setup. So I'm currently level 94, and I went for this. I went for a Blessed Rebirth. So Blessed Rebirth is just incredible. I did emphasize it in the build guide, but I want to re-emphasize it, that this is incredible for your quality of life. Your SRS can't take damage for 4 seconds after they're summoned. Really allows you to do damage through, you know, hard boss fights with a lot of AoE, anything like that. And this all just makes all your minions a little bit tankier. Then the rest of the passives, I think, are bog standard. So there's no other changes here. So that's it. You know, at level 94, I spec'd out of some of the danglers, and I just grabbed this, and I'm good to go. Probably when I get like 2 more levels, I might spec out of a little bit more. Might spec out of like the block here, and then go into a large cluster jewel, which would give me an additional ghastly eye jewel. So that's the current plan right now. I'm not 100% sure. I kind of like being how tanky I am as well. Then in terms of the second ascendancy, I need to add this to the Maxwell guide. The short of it is you want to go for the Magi, the Oath of the Magi, with the tinctures and all that. Just go for the running speed. Don't take any other points. Just get that movement speed. And then when you get out of the campaign, you want to switch to the Primalist. Probably like one of the #1 strongest things about this build now is we get a free onslaught. You want to get this charm socket ASAP. This charm is crazy. And I bought this for 15 chaos. I don't know what the current price is. While there's at least 5 nearby allies, you get that onslaught. Everything feels so much better. It's more damage. And yeah, this is huge. Then after that, I'm just using spell suppression. Video yesterday that I made is I went over all of the charms if you want to know my opinion on all of the mods. But here, spell suppression is incredible. And then I think the Profane Bloom is the other one that I'm very much going to value. Then you can get Ellie res for you and your minions, stuff like that. Really good base quality life ones. One that a lot of people are linking me and saying, hey, is this one good for the build? It's the Unholy Might. No, Unholy Might's not very good for the build. It's okay, but it's a temporary buff on a temporary minion to do chaos damage, which we're not scaling. It's pretty bad for the build. It's, you know, it would represent a little bit more damage, but you know, if you think about it a little bit, it doesn't really work. That's where we're good. I don't have the boss slot unlocked yet, but yeah, that's generally what I'm going for. Spell suppression and onslaught, res, stuff like that. All right, then we'll go over the gear really, really quickly. Like I said, on the first day, I spent very, very little. This is everything that I bought just to get started. And then I don't think I wrote down what I bought today. So just baseline stuff, some res, some whatever. What I've upgraded to is some pretty good gear. And the key here was to get in early and fast. So if you get to farming Sanctum, anything like that, I did have a number of good drops as well to kind of get my baseline currency up. I found some of the corpses as well. Some of the corpses in the Wildwood you can sell for some really good currency, which kind of segues into what we're going to talk about a little bit later. This is a really bad segue because we're not segueing. So we're just going to go line by line. I'll talk about how, like, what I bought, why I bought it, and what I did to craft it. So the ideal mods on our weapon are attack and cast speed for the minions, minion damage, and +1 minion level. So I bought this base for 1 divine. I hit Essences of Fear to guarantee that essence increased damage. And then I just got a little bit more damage on top of that. I got the tier 2 hybrid damage, crafted the trigger. Number one thing you want to get after you get to your maps is get that trigger craft, run Betrayal, whatever, try to unlock that, buy it from a friend, because that allows you to save 3 button presses, Desecrate, Flesh Offering, and Punishment. Makes the build way, way smoother to play. That's like priority number 1. Gloves, I bought Fractured Spell Suppression base. I bought this for 25-30 Chaos. I hit it into Reforged Chaos. I'm doing Harvest, I'm doing Abyss, and I'm doing Expedition. I just bought the base, Reforged Chaos. I didn't hit anything else, right? I just hit tier 2 Chaos Res, Crafted Life, good to go. The Implicits, I don't want that MAME. I want Spell Suppression and Minion damage, but, I got what I got. Boots, same exact thing, basically. I bought Fractured T2 movement speed. It was like 20-30 Chaos for that, nothing big. I threw it into Reforge something. I don't even remember which Reforge it was. And I hit 2 reses and a life. Crafted a little bit additional life because there's nothing else I can craft on there right now. And good to go. I'm using the Scorch Ground while moving. This would be replaced when you get Legacy of Fury on your Animate Guardian, but this works for now. It's kind of annoying. It's a low tier, only lasts 2 seconds. And then the other one, I would ideally like movement, action speed, whatever. But this is what I have right now. Ring, Fractured Chaos Res. I don't remember what I spent. Maybe 20-30 Chaos. I've been trying to keep my expenditures as low as possible. So you'll see why, because you'll see the big items that I went for. So Fractured Chaos Res, Unset Ring, just to try to sneak in more gem sockets. And then this Amethyst Ring that I've had for quite a while. I've had this since Yellow Maps. I think it dropped off the ground like this. And then I was like, you know what? That's pretty good. And I just equipped it. So yeah, very, very bad Amethyst Ring right here. What else? My Stygian Vise. I got this myself by, like I'm doing Abyss. Did one of the encounters. I got this Stygian Vise. I scoured it. I hit it with 4 Fertile Catalysts. I threw it into Reforge. I think Lightning. I think I was going for Lightning Res. I hit Good Life. I hit some Fire Res. Good enough. Nothing crazy on that. That's all like my baseline items. The wand is probably my best item that I've gone over so far. Next up would be the helmet. So this is Fractured +2 level of all minion skill gems. I bought this for 2 divines on the first night. So I was able to snag this when it was cheaper. I would imagine that the price is higher now for Fractured +2 minion gems. So this is a thing where you just want to get in. Like if you can play on day 1, if you can buy it on day 1 or day 2, the price is going to be much lower before the average player is sitting on 5 or 10 divines. So I snagged that right away, threw it into Reforged Chaos. I hit Cold Res, Crafted Life, right? Not really finished. Fizz taking his fire. The other one, I hit cast speed, but I would have increased elemental weakness effect. My shield, I got very lucky. I bought this base for 10 chaos, and then I regaled it, and I hit +1 level of all minion skill gems. I had a very, very lucky regal, and then I used a couple exalts. Exalts were only 6 chaos yesterday morning, so I just used some exalts. I hit a couple trash mods on it, crafted spell suppression. So very lucky shield there, but there's nothing insane on it. And then my very best expensive item that I have. Oh, I guess we'll do body armor next. So body armor, I bought a scoured white 6-link for 25 chaos, 30 chaos, I think is on the second day. I threw it into Reforged Fizz because I want that flat physical damage reduction. So if you know, I would like a lightning coil. Like lightning coil is in the build guide. That is the ideal body armor that I would like to have. But a rare is not bad. And we can go for additional physical damage reduction. We can go for spell suppression, something like that. I'd rather have a 6-link rare than a 5-link lightning coil. For the implicits, I would rather have haste and non-curse aura effect, but I have what I have right now. And then my best item, I just bought this base for 6 divines about an hour ago. This is one of those bases that the price always goes up. This will be worth about 10 to 15 divines in a few days. When you see it for a steal early league, you just snag that right away. This is a base that I can reuse and take to future builds as well. As soon as I craft it up, I can change whatever I go for. It's a very generic base. I can put on any build. That's what I hit there. I threw it into Reforged Fire because I was trying to go for +1 fire gems, but then I hit T1 life and T1 increased armor. And I said, as well as, a little bit of cold res. And I said, you know what? That's pretty good. I'm going to keep that for now. Later on, I do want to go for +1 fire gem. Best item that I bought, I spent 6 divines on it. This is all I've totally spent, and the build feels incredibly powerful right now. And then in terms of the gems, I just want to highlight one little thing that I did. Because I don't have the profane proxy, I actually put my curse into this unset ring, and I took out minion life. I'm actually using elemental army with my specters and my AG. And the cool thing here is that it makes them tankier, right? It gives them plus to their all res. I think it goes to +4 or +5 at level 20. But with elemental army on my AG and my specters, this makes them significantly tankier. Also, I want to call out, a lot of people are missing this in the build guide. You do want the minions recover 5% life on minion death. In the leveling progression, it's convocation, but you want to change this over to the recover about when you hit maps. So that is a changeover. I didn't call it out explicitly enough in the max roll guide, but this is really big for keeping all of your AG and your specters alive. So I'm using elemental army here. I took out minion life, and then I have carrion golem with just feeding frenzy right here. And this actually saves me a gem socket, and this allows me to have basically the end game set up without the profane proxy. So that's just the one little gem change that I made right there. All right, and now the star of the show. What I want to share with you guys and what I mostly want to talk about. This. The boys, the crew, Dom Toretto, Letty, everybody. We're all hanging out at the picnic after the big Fast and the Furious movie. The new specters are cracked, and you'll actually notice that I am anointing Death Attunement instead of Inveterate, because we are now able to get spell suppression on our clusters, or our charms rather. We can actually, these go to 16%, I think. So I want to get 16% on 2 of these. This is 32% spell suppression, whereas this one is 15. I can get very, very close to cap spell suppression just with 2 good spell suppression charms. That opens up our anoint, and the new specters are so strong. You'll notice that I actually have the sound turned off. Hopefully it's not coming through. I think that mutes everything. I have the sound turned off because this guy keeps slamming. He's really annoying, actually. The new specters, check out the video from yesterday if you want my full overview. I have now integrated them. And my plan is to actually level up my my raised specter to another level, to hit 25 to get another one. I currently have 3 specters because I have Death Attunement. This gives me another one. And I'm currently using the, what's his name? The Hulking Miscreant, I think his name is, and the Rongo Kurai Turtle. The perfect versions of them, the Guardian Turtle. So the Miscreation, this guy, the perfect Hulking Miscreation, he gives nearby allies 20% Fizz's extra lightning. And when I calculated this in PoB, it gave me about 8% more damage for the build. And he summons a lot of these little constructs, a bunch of constructs from like, tunnels, repository, and heist. And, they're going to take aggro. They take hits. So if I show you real quick, he'll do a bunch of casting and he'll summon some little dudes. And you get a bunch of additional allies, more little buddies, and they'll take some aggro. I don't know if they do any noticeable damage or anything, but, just good to have things that take, hits, take aggro from you. The big thing is the 20% Fizzes extra. He does a big ground slam and everything. I don't know if he does noticeable damage. He's not linked to any damage gems, but he's pretty cool. And then the other one I want to call out that I'm using right now is well, actually, I'm first off going to call out, I'm not using the Pale Seraphim or the Arena Master. I just want to justify that really quickly. The Pale Seraphim puts a 15% increased damage debuff on the enemy monsters, and then the Arena Master is a very, very temporary 20% attack, cast, and movement speed buff on you and your minions. And it's like 3 or 4 seconds or something, and it's not up very often. It has a cooldown. That's like not that good. Hold on, someone's asking me some questions. Well, they can keep typing while I talk. The alternative is the classic, actually, is the Carnage Chieftain that you can get from the old fields in Act 2. It gives you frenzy charges, like pretty good uptime of your frenzy charges. You'll have 2 to 3 most of the time, and that represents 8 to 12% more damage. It's just a more damage multiplier, as well as 8 to 12% increased attack, cast, and movement speed. In terms of the quality of life, the average damage that you're doing, giving it to all your minions instead of like a debuff on a single minion or a single enemy, that I think that's just more valuable in general, particularly for a Zerg style, we have a lot of minions type of build. So I think Carnage Chieftain, if you have to choose like between Carnage Chieftain, Arena Master, and Pale Seraphim, though if I could only choose one, I would actually choose Carnage Chieftain. So I just want to justify that really quickly. Now, to talk about the turtle. So the turtle is really, really cool. So what he does, let's go down here, is he will, every 30 seconds, this is like whatever, right? It's a very low uptime. Every 30 seconds, he will cast a 2-second invulnerability buff in an AoE to you and all of your buddies. That's kind of cool. You know, it's not the worst thing in the world. He also casts a determination, which is a little bit weaker. So a regular determination has less flat. So level 21 right here, 2153 and 50% more. His is 3935 and 30% more. And I noticed, I did some testing earlier, his does override my aura. I think it counts as higher level. You'll notice that when I turn my determination on or off, nothing changes. His will override mine. But if I get away from him, my armor actually goes up a little bit. I get just 1,000 more armor. The calculation is I get a little bit more because the more multiplier on mine is more. And particularly with Molten Shell, it'll end up being more with the more multiplier if I get away from him. So there is that. However, the really nice thing that it gives us is we lose a little bit of armor, but I think this opens up the possibility of running Grace, and we can get an additional aura. Now, granted, there is Grace here. I think this is what I would really do, is I would go for the perfect Primal Thunderbird and just get Grace. We don't have to worry about our determination being up or down or anything, or his overriding ours. This is the real thing to go for, but it's kind of expensive right now. The Turtle, that 5% flat PDR, it's going to be way better than counteracting the loss of the armor. And then if you want to, we can run Grace instead. And as long as I don't get dinged by a scary hit if I'm too far away from the Turtle, then I'll actually have a lot more evasion. But in terms of any truly scary encounter, having that much invasion, like a lot of monsters around, being able to run Grace instead of determination will probably just be way more EHP. And then we effectively have both. So I think that's just really exciting. And then I can add an additional Spectre here by getting this to level 25. I just had to buy level 21 Race Spectre, actually. And then I could actually either add back in the Pale Seraphim or the Arena Master, or we could try to use some of the other new ones. And the other new ones, right, like the really, really good one here would be the Naval Officer. Gives 10 fortification and precision. This is incredible. We don't really need precision. You only need a little bit of accuracy in your accuracy cap. This allows you to remove accuracy from everything. The 10 fortification is really, really good because there's a charm buff that says cannot be stunned if you're fortified. And this would make us stun immune as well, which would open up all sorts of possibilities, like being able to change our soul to Brine King as long as we get freeze immunity on our boots. Now, there are issues I haven't even tested it because I'm scared. I don't want to lose them. But there's issues where people, like, you're supposed to be able to, like, go back to your hideout. If you accidentally unsocket it, go back to your hideout and you'll see the corpse there and you can resummon it. That's what GGG said. But people have said in my chat that it's not been working for them very well. So I'm scared to lose them. So just be aware of that. But at the very least, right, I think leaning into even more Spectres, you could do Pale Seraphim, Arena Master, Carnage Chieftain. You could just grab the cheapest one of the new minions. Like, even at the very least, right, until you have the charm with Onslaught, you can do this, the perfect Forest Warrior, and you get Culling Strike on, he has Culling Strike, and Onslaught on him, right? These are really, really strong. Hopefully, let's see. It's about 10 minutes less than my last recording, so better. I just wanted to really quickly go over everything. I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of detail that I missed, but I wanted to just hit you with where my build is after 3 days. I have a total playtime. You could take a couple hours off of this, about 30-something hours of playtime, 35 hours or so, probably. You know, you can extrapolate that how you like. If you're playing 2 to 4 hours a day, like a reasonably adjusted human being, a real adult, then, you know, obviously this will take you longer to get to, but I just wanted to show you guys something that you can shoot for, you know, as you play. You can get here. This build is incredibly strong. There's so much potential, particularly with the charms and the new Spectres. And I'm really excited to keep exploring this all with you guys. And it's been a blast. So I'm going to start editing this video and hopefully I can go to bed before 5 a.m. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow on the stream. Have a good one. Thanks for watching. Bye.